Hello, everyone. So in this game, this is another replay review. In this game, we are going to be following Otzi on ETC, and this is a Dragonshire map. This is not a competitive match. This is a Storm League match. What I mean by that is they're random players, right? They're not. It's not a coordinated environment. And so what happens for me when I coach people in Storm League games, I'm generally like, how do you get the most value out of a game? Where in competitive environments, I'm always saying, what does your team do to win this game? Right? So you can't like force your team to do anything in Storm League. So the best thing that you can do is get the most value out of the game and hope your team is vaguely doing the right thing. If you get 3 levels up, even if your team's doing the wrong thing, 3 levels up is usually enough to where they could get caught in a bad situation and still come out favorably. So for me, whenever I play in Storm League and I want to carry, it's about how to gain the most value out of the game. By playing ETC, your ability to do camps outside of E-Build is relatively low, so you generally don't even try. And I wouldn't go E-Build this game purely because E-Build requires you to auto-attack a lot, and you're not going to be able to auto-attack a lot against an Arthas. So this is a double soak game, and to me, this is a game where I would be going Pinball Wizard and I would be going Loudspeaker. I would be double soaking by attacking the backliners 6 times and then sliding through the whole wave, pressing W, and that clears the wave. And then I would be going from lane to lane, most likely mid to bot, and giving my team the opportunity to get camps or whatever else they want to get. I might roam top if maybe my team members have gotten camps and bot lane is kind of just both of these lanes are already being soaked. I might sneak top and see if I can get a bursty kill by abusing the fact that Pinball Wizard adds a ton of burst to your comp. So my early game this game would be make sure that every lane is being soaked, potentially even type to your team and say, hey, can someone get these camps at these times? And then I would be just pushing to try to get Pinball Wizard and start double soaking and start looking for picks. That's all I would be doing this game for the early until the mid game. The build that I would recommend on a game like this, I would look at the enemy team and go, can I get value out of Block Party? If this guy goes Twin Blades, Block Party is pretty good. If he goes Colossal Smash, it's okay. The rest of their team doesn't seem like Block Party is going to be that great. A lot of their damage is likely going to be poke, so I would most likely be going Prog Rock this game. Level 4 and 7, I would take the W package for the larger range and knockback as well as for the increased damage. Level 10 in this game, I would look for any Mosh interrupts. Currently, I only see one Mosh interrupt, which is whatever Deckard takes at level 10. There's no interrupt here, potentially a Mosh interrupt from her level 10 as well, and no interrupt here. So my this is a Mosh game for me, and I would always be looking to Mosh either after one of their ults goes, and I'll Mosh the other one, or I'll try to grab both of them in a single mosh because they're both backliners and there's a good chance they'll be next to each other during fights. This is a mosh pit game for me because if these are ever next to each other, you just win the fight. And if they're ever spread out, you just wait for an ult. Sometimes they'll hold their ults because you're holding mosh, and then they're holding two ults for one of your ults, and you guys will naturally win the fight. So overall, this is definitely a mosh game for me. Level 13, I probably would be going mic check most of the time because they have 2 frontliners, and that means that I'm naturally going to be able to hit 2 and I can peel for my team all day long. However, Encore could be pretty powerful against their team because they have so few Mosh interrupts. You could probably get a lot of value off of landing Mosh after Mosh after Mosh. So I'd probably actually go Encore this game. Level 16, all of these are really good talents. I don't really like Showstopper anymore ever since they buffed your trait. When you use a heroic ability, you have 60 armor for 2 seconds. Well, you're never really going to need that 35 armor after a slide because they're going to be stunned for a good portion of that. And if you're going to be moshing, I used to always recommend this talent for mosh because you would mosh and you would only get 20 armor. And so I would say people could just kill you during your mosh. But now, because you get 60 armor, I just tell people, you know what? You don't need this talent. So I go aggressive shredding or I go imposing presence. I would be going opposing presence this game to slow the attack speed of the 2 auto attackers, and you can activate it to give you a nice little slow if you're chasing someone. So say you slide on someone, you knock them towards your team, you could walk back to them, pop imposing presence, and your team will likely get a kill. And level 20, because they have so few Mosh interrupts, I would be going Torbus. I love Torbus against so few Mosh interrupts because it's a 6-second Mosh. You can Mosh the front line, and when the back line tries to get close to interrupt you, you can slide towards them, and you can Mosh them, and they won't get the interrupts off. So you can Mosh the 2 frontliners, your team kills the 2 frontliners, and as they walk up to interrupt, you slide them, and then they're Mosh too, and you kill the backliners. So I would be going Torbus this game. Hopefully this gives you an idea of what build I would go and how I approach the early game. So let's see how this game goes, and we'll kind of go from there. Again, the early game, I would be looking at just trying to get to level 7 as fast as possible by making sure that every lane is soaked. And I would tell my team, I would start off and I would say, hey, I will cover bot, rag, top, and let's go Naz bot. Can we have Vala, Ana just do camps for the start? Right? You could type something like that. It's a single sentence. Well, I guess it's 2 sentences. 2 sentences. And if people listen, this is enough coordination to get you to level 7 and potentially even get you the first Dragonite. I used to have a strategy on this map where I would play Rhaegar, and at 1 minute I would get this camp because no one would ever check. Then I would get this camp. And that basically guaranteed us getting bottom. Then I would get this camp, and I would hold top while this camp's pushing. And when the camp pushes up and they're distracted, I'd head down and grab the Dragonite while they're still dealing with the camps down here. And I ended up having like an 85% win chance on this map playing Rhaegar all the way up to Grandmasters because people just never checked those camps that early. And Rhaegar could just get the camps so quickly that no one was able to really contest it. But if you don't tell your team what to do, there's a chance that they might just not do anything valuable. So you end up going Block Party. I think Block Party's okay this game. The challenge that I would have is that they are kind of pokey. And if he goes Twin Blades, he's going to be attacking so fast, Block Party won't be able to get enough value. I like Block Party into like slow attackers. You're also fighting a lot when your kill potential is kind of weak right now. Sure, they have a variant, but still, you're not in a coordinated environment. You can't like force your team to get kills. And now you're missing soak top, you're missing soak mid, and you'll get soak mid, but you're missing soak top and bot, and camps are spawning in 10 seconds, and no one's prepped to get camps. So do you see how just telling your team like, hey, let's just soak and let's just get camps? Could have given your team like a huge lead, and now you're going to be at a disadvantage because they're soaking top, they're soaking bot, and they got 2 kills, and they're only dedicating 1 to each lane, which means they'll probably have people going for camps, right? And that's the biggest challenge that I find people have in these is they're just not playing to their strengths. You know what ETC can and can't do, so you need to kind of tell your team to do things that he can't do, or else you're just going to do nothing. So imagine right now your team has a bruiser camp, and imagine in about 10 seconds you'll have a siege camp pushing. You would be up on experience compared to the enemies. And you wouldn't have 2 deaths because your team would just be chilling, you know? And now imagine you have 2 bruisers, you got the siege pushing, and you haven't had any deaths, right? It's all from 2 sentences typed. I understand you're an EU player, and sometimes chat just goes ignored. But in the few times that it doesn't go ignored, could be the difference between a win and a loss, and it's one of the easiest wins of your life. I even did this on an EU account. This is a long time ago, though, but this is back in like 2018. I just told people I played only Brightwing, and because I was trying to prove, I had one person I was coaching, and he was like, none of what you're saying works, blah, 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 blah. Like, no one listens in chat. No one does this or that. So I played Brightwing, who at the time I felt like one of the hardest heroes to just carry with. And I played Brightwing every game, and I had like a 90% win rate. And I just told people where to go before they died, right? Once they die, people get tilted. And they don't want to... Oh, God, that's a really bad death. But do you see neither team's getting any camps? Imagine if you had just one player on your team getting camps, the lead they would bring to your team. And it's easy to blame your team because you're like, oh, I'm playing ETC. I can't do this. I can't do camps. But you're the one that picked ETC. So you need to play to your strengths and understand your weaknesses, and you need to make sure that your team is covering for your weaknesses. And if they're not, can you blame yourself or can you blame your team? Well, you're the one who picked ETC, and you're the one that didn't type anything. So it is still on you. Now, don't get me wrong, your mechanics are good. Like, you're a good player. But, yeah, the only camp that gets picked up is the enemies taking one of your camps. Yeah, this is not a good game. And the enemies have had control of the objective the whole time. This is pretty rough. You were rooted, so you couldn't do anything. I don't know why he's pinging you. You were rooted. You couldn't do anything. The funny thing too, this is where it's always funny. I'll leave it playing. So now that you've hit level 7, you grab Pinball Wizard and you should start double soaking for your team. You can knock these into nope. Okay. Yeah, you knock them into tower range with your W. There's two options here. You can either knock them away from tower range and you can kill them, or you can knock them into tower range and let the tower kill them. Because your clear is a little slow, I would knock them into tower range. There we go. So one's in tower range. I think the other one is as well. Yep. Cool. Easy peasy. Could have done that a little earlier, but that's okay. So I always think the funny thing, and this always cracks me up. Whenever you have like a gold player, and this rank is around like gold platinum, I believe. Whenever you have a gold player that like calls you out for something that really wasn't your fault, but they don't realize how much they've done wrong this game, it's just always a little funny to me. There's nothing against this Vala player, but when a Vala player is calling you out for not peeling her when both of you guys got hit by the same route, one, makes me laugh, but two, she hasn't done a single camp this game. Right? So, of the people who can do camps, and I mean, everyone other than you and Ana can do camps realistically. Ana can do camps, but it just takes too long. You can do camps, but it just takes too long. But everyone else on your team can do camps reasonably quick. You could just press E and just auto attack him. He's just taunt variant, but you need to pay attention to like where the enemies are. So there's two top. You're safe to just keep defending bot. And just pressing E off cooldown. So one quick thing when you're double soaking is ETC. Do you see how when you do your combo, you leave everyone with like a sliver of health? You want to auto attack each backline minion twice. And then you're going to slide through all of the backline minions. You'll press a W, and it'll wipe the entire wave. Because the frontline minions get low enough from your minions attacking them, and the wizard is weaker than the backline minions. So when you attack the backline minions 3 times, and then you slide through the whole wave in W, you kill an entire wave. So right here, 1, you didn't need to be as afraid of Varian as you were. But 2, you could have wiped this whole wave. His wave clears really slow compared to yours. So if you wipe this wave, you could immediately go mid and start soaking mid as well and potentially looking for a pick. And he'll be stuck down here still dealing with the wave for a little bit longer. And this is where your strengths come in on ETC. You can double soak faster than the opposing tanks. So you need to be double soaking faster than the opposing tanks to force them to react. If they leave the lane to react to you roaming, then they're going to miss experience and you're going to get ahead. If they stay, then you can force 4v5s. Right now, you're kind of doing neither. Whenever you're playing Storm League, you always need to think. You need to go, what does my hero do? Every hero has strengths and weaknesses. And you need to think, in order to win this game, I need to play off of my strengths. And I need to make sure the majority of my time is playing off of strengths. And if you're ever playing towards your weaknesses, then you're going to really struggle. What I mean by that is if you're trying to do camps or you're trying to kill people on like ETC, If you're trying to 1v1 people on ETC, you're not playing to your strength. You're not an Imperious. You're not any duelist. You're not a Kira or anything. You're an ETC. Your job, you can double soak, so you want to be double soaking. You've got a ton of CC, so you want to be joining a team and getting really quick picks. And you want to make sure that your team isn't wasting time on things that they shouldn't be. I mean, that's a little crazy, but it's okay. Generally, when I'm like approaching fights like that, you can't CC a Dragon Knight, so I want to kind of go in and out, and I want to make sure that if he kicks me, I get kicked back to my team. So I never go like to the side or behind a Dragon Knight as a tank. You guys got a couple kills. What can you do with the kills? I would be pinging on my way, on my way, on my way, because we just got kills down here. So we've got 2 people. So she's gonna grab that one. So you and Ana and Nazeebo are gonna grab this camp really quick. You grab this camp. That's gonna distract them here. It's gonna take them a minute to get rid of that camp, and you guys could go up here and steal this, or you could steal this. I would grab this camp. This would distract them for a minute, and then you'd have this camp and this camp pushing at the same time. And that would be some pretty good momentum for you guys to go up and take both of these camps. And by the time they can answer both of these camps, you'll have the objective. That's like how you want to win HOTS games. You just ping on my way places after you get kills, and you get momentum. During 2 kills, you'll get so much momentum that the oh, this should be a kill. Just slide right on W, and then just auto attack this dude. Yep. Okay, your team. They're on their way. Yeah, that could have been a mosh if you did it earlier, but not a big deal. They should have just walked around the tornado, but whatever. Again, it's kind of a small thing, but Progrock heals quite a bit. 80 health per second, and then plus up to 100 health per second, right? So during that fight, you could have had essentially, I mean, that fight went on for 8 seconds, right? So you would have been able to get 2 guitar solos off, probably. And so if you went prog rock, you would have healed for, oh no, it's only 100. It's only 100 extra health per second, but still, you would have had an extra 800 health that fight.
And the Dragon Knight's power is yours.
Is 800 health more than the blocks? Well, most of the damage you took was from Jaina. Oh, tad bit too far, but that's okay. It's still a good person to mosh. Jaina's a lot of their damage. Nice. You'll have slide in a second. Yep. You can just body block here. You can walk down. That's fine. You get bought. They have no one top, right? And now they can send someone top, but this should be a Dragon Knight for you. Just immediately go on him. Yep. Just body block him. Yep, that's perfect. Nice body block. Again, like, your mechanics are great. You just need to know how to, like, get a lead for your team. That's really where you fall short. Your mechanics are really, really good. And you should continue doing what you're doing. Like, for the most part, you've got good body blocking. You know who to queue onto. I think you're a little too aggressive early game. But for the most part, you're pretty good. Always press E whenever someone jumps on you like that. If he's charging towards you, he's probably going to taunt you. You press E so you get the 20 armor ahead of time. Ooh, that was pretty good. Now just W to keep them away from your team. Oh, you walked right into the tornado. Just W, and walk away. And VPing your team so that they don't try to go in. And you might even want to VPing the Dragon Knight away so he doesn't die. You can throw one more W potentially. You might even be able to mosh. Depending on what they do here, you might be able to mosh. Oh, you're out of mana. Just get out. You should be VPinging your team, telling them, hey, let's get away. I always tell people, you surround them in white flags. If people don't know what I mean by that, when you VPing someone, it's like a white flag. It's like a surrender flag. So I surround one of my teams. I ping like 5 times around one of my team members to get out. So like the Nazebo, when he was at like 30% health in the Dragon Knight, I would have surrounded him in white flags so he knows to get away. And then I might save like one ping and ping my mana so that people know, hey, I'm low on mana. Let's not be in there. Opposing presence is good. So right there is kind of a situation. I mean, you have no follow-up. You could imposing presence them after the stun's up and then just walk away. If your team has enough follow-up, it's pretty solid. 20% slow is enough to generally get kills if you're just chasing someone. Oh, this is so sketchy. They're here. Like, you could just slide Mosh right now. Okay. This is so sketchy. This fight is so awkward. You gotta keep hitting him. Don't attack the, Yeah, you don't want to be attacking the minions during that fight, because you just sped up the camp, basically. Yeah, that's really awkward. If you moshed the Varian with the Deckard, I think you might have been fine because the Vala didn't get taunted there. But man, that's an awkward fight. She got 2 Hydralisks out during that fight too. You weren't really running away from the heal. You were like here when you needed healing, and she was here. Alright, Naz got top. You guys are going to cover mid. You could mosh here if you want, and you'd get 60 armor, so it's worth trying. It's sometimes worth just doing mosh, because, I mean, who has the interrupt, right? Look at who's here, right? Deckard has already used his ult. We see it. We visually see his ult, so he doesn't have an interrupt. And we see 4 people here. Like, you could just mosh just for the 60 armor. Like, you would get at least 1 person, maybe 2. In the position you were in, you would have gotten 2, and they wouldn't have been able to step up either, and they had no interrupt. You guys had killed the Zagara. So sometimes you just want to mosh. But I do think you're jumping into a lot of fights, because you guys are getting kind of desperate, right? You're dying a lot, which is giving the enemies control over the map, which is forcing you guys to get desperate and make plays that you normally wouldn't make just so that the enemies don't get objectives. If you focus on winning the map and controlling the macro, all of this gets so much easier. But you're focused so much on like just trying to solve every problem that ETC's not great at solving. Like, if you were in a fight like that as Diablo, it would have been pretty easy to hold your own, stay alive through all that, but doing it as ETC is kind of rough. You have Mosh, but there's no great, like, Mosh direction. In the world you took Crowd Surfer here, you could go and Mosh onto these 2, but I think you're fine where you're at. You could still potentially Mosh both of those. Oh, you're just out of range, so you get hit by... Wait, is that Nidus Network? That is Nidus Network, yeah. So you get Deckard here. Good mosh. Nice job. I mean, you still lost a team member, but you should be able to get another kill here. Yikes. Yeah, it's just kind of they had 20s earlier. Like, Crowd Pleaser, you potentially could have, after that mosh ended, you could have, like, slid over and grabbed, like, their tank, potentially grabbed another. Or, like, there is a way, depending on if you're near a wall, you can actually double mosh. So, like, right here, this is kind of also like a tour bus trick. You can slide into this wall, and you'll just, like, kind of go like this and then inch over. And since Deckard was right here, you could just mosh him for another 2 seconds. Like, the Arthas would have popped or dropped away, but I don't remember if it was Arthas or Jaina that you had as well, but yeah, you can, like, double mosh the same target if you're near a wall.
My beloved is gone, but his power remains. Control the shrine.
Yeah, you guys are just overwhelmed on macro now. I'm surprised this game goes on for another like 7 minutes. Oh, Rag's
There
gonna
must
just clear it
always
up.
be.
So you guys get a camp. Oh, you're pushing. This is really bold. I mean, it's not awful. It's just, it's kind of bold because they're pushing top, so you're going to be trading a fort for a keep, right? So, like, was it worth it to lose a keep for that? No, it really wasn't. Now, two people are dead, so there is a world that you could try to grab something. I would just go straight to top because you get a Dragonite for free, right? You gotta just, we can't hesitate. You gotta just go top. Yeah. Your team's pushing bot. Rag's holding his own. Yeah. Awesome. So you're heading back down. You'll probably be the best person in here because you have the least siege damage. So I would ping like on my way. So that you don't lose like Vala is your best siege damage. Rag's your second best. Nazebo's probably your third best. Maybe Rag's above, or maybe Nazebo's above Rag. But you're like the worst other than Ana. So you should be the one getting in the Dragonite. I might have missaid that earlier. I might have said you're the best siege damage, so you should get in. What I mean is you're the worst siege damage, so that you should be the Dragonite. Because no one can really follow you up right now because you're missing a lot of damage. And if you mosh someone, it doesn't really do much. Like, this is a good mosh, don't get me wrong. So this is where you could Torbus too. Like, you could Torbus over here and probably still have him in the second half of your mosh if you Torbus this way. And then he dies. Or you could Torbus the Arthas and go over here and then do the same thing. It just depends on where you want to go. If you aim it right, you might actually be able to get both of them again. That's why I recommend Torbus against teams that don't have a lot of interrupts. And you can also dodge interrupts too. If there's only one or two interrupts, you can just dodge interrupts with your... Bolt is only good if like you're in a coordinated environment where you can like bolt in, get like a crazy mosh, and your team's like ready to follow it. I generally don't recommend bolts. Oh, that's huge. That Rag ult is absolutely huge. This game goes on for another 4 minutes. I feel like you guys can end the game off of this. This is huge. Oh, don't die here. Oh, no. You've got to pay attention to these. It's like you don't see the tornado at all. Because that's like the third time you've walked into the tornado. I would say third. You did it 3 times right there. But this is the third different tornado that you've walked into. I wonder if you're just not seeing them in fights. Maybe you'll want to watch replays and kind of pay attention to what they look like. Oh, you got to peel for him, maybe? Okay, no, they're not going in. Oh, she dies. You can sneak one auto attack in before you W. So you can slide auto attack W and then auto attack again. And you do like half to like 60% of a Jaina's health. Oh, she's going to get stunned. Oh, God. You're in there. Don't be in there. You could, your next slide moshes the Deckard. Your next slide moshes Deckard. I would stay long enough to do that. Because if you get a kill off that Deckard, that's game. Oh, they're going in on your back line. Oh, and you keep walking directly into the tornado. Stop walking into the tornado. Oh, you didn't mosh the Deckard. He has another tornado. Oh, wait, he doesn't have another tornado. Did he not go with the upgraded tornado? Where did he go at 20? Oh, he went bottomless. I hate bottomless. I know it's a good talent, but... Whenever I say I don't like a talent, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad talent. I just feel like if you're playing Deckard and you're actively throwing Qs, it'll be better to have a Q where you want it to be rather than a respawned Q in a place that the fight probably isn't even anymore. I think bottomless would be really cool to have like one bottomless flask as a talent that you could like press 1, throw a Q, and then that will just stay out there. That would be cool for like a level 7 talent, because then you could throw a heal to your like solo laner. But it would have to compete with some like really important talents. Almost like an ult. Like if he had another ult that was place like a bigger pot that respawns every 5 seconds, that would be a really cool ult. I don't think it would be overpowered. All right, you guys got a Dragonite. You end the game with the Dragonite, right? It's a 21-minute Dragonite. It should be able to just walk to core and auto attack. Where is your Dragonite, though? Did you walk it too early? I'm guessing they walked it too early. It took its full health bar before you guys got there. That's the only thing that makes sense. Alright, Rag got a kill. Should be a Mosh. He's got Tornado, though. Oh god, these fights are so janky. Oh, don't W without using your Q first. Unless you need to peel. But you didn't need to peel there, because this could have been the kill. Look at how much health he has. Oh, he dies anyways. Oh yeah, you just QW him. Don't do that, though, because now you're going to knock him towards his escape. You want to body block him until he gets around you, then you slide through him, auto, W, auto, and then he dies. But by sliding first, you're making it to where if you W, you save him. Always abuse the body block first. Okay, so he dies, and you guys close out the game. Awesome. The only thing I really want to share with you is communicate a little bit more in the early game, and you need to abuse the macro that you have. This is where people get real confused when they're playing someone like ETC, is they feel like they don't have a lot of macro, so they just like try to fight 1v1 or they just go for picks. But what people don't get is, remember who you were going against? You were going against a taunt variant. So we'll just throw a variant in there and whatever talent he goes, it doesn't matter. Change this to prog rock, loudspeaker, pinball. Unlock and watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Taunt variant. We're going to slide through W. And I missed one, but that's okay. We'll throw 3 autos. We'll heal, and we'll leave, right? Now, variant has this whole wave that he needs to deal with. And what am I going to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slide through W. Maybe I make another mistake and I throw an extra 3 auto attacks. I mount up. And guess what? He has this huge wave that he's still dealing with. And I can just heal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's make sure that I go through all of them this time. W. And guess what? I'm out. I press W again, or I press E again, and I'm gone. He has now 2 waves that he's needing to deal with, and I'm pushing out extra waves, and I'm maybe going for picks too. Say I have a laner here that's already getting the soak. I could just go straight in, auto W, auto, and I could add a bunch of damage to the fights. So this is a way to bring in a ton of macro value to your team, and also work on some picks and distract the enemy the entire time. But yeah, to share kind of the combo that I generally do when I'm going in, say you have someone that's here like a Jaina or something that's going to help you out get this kill. You can go in, you can slide, auto, W, auto, auto, and it's 800 damage. So against your team, there was a Jaina, right? So that Jaina was kind of like holding her own lanes here and there. So let's kind of look at the Jaina, and let's show how much damage you can do to a Jaina. Before she really can do anything. So say you're double soaking, right? And you're getting as many of these orbs as you can. And say your team member sees a Jaina here. You want to go jump on her. So we're going to slide, auto W, auto, auto. And that's it. That's half of her health. If you have a team member that's there with you, then he's going to see the stun. He's going to see you. And you can even ping like on your way towards the person. You can ping her, and then you can go in and have your team help you out, and you can finish off that target with your team. And then you go back, you push out the wave, and you cause the wave to crash, costing them experience, and you go and you go back to another lane. It takes you too long to do camps, so you never do camps. You're going to be double soaking, you're going to be getting picks, and that's all you're doing. That's all you have to do. And then you hit 10s, and you start like applying a lot more pressure. Type a little bit to your team, or even just ping camps. You ping this camp like this, and then you just keep double soaking. And then you're just going from lane to lane. We hit this Jaina, auto, 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 auto. And then what are we going to do? Auto, 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 auto. And we'll slide up. W, wave's gone. We did it a little early, but that's okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll throw one auto here, and we're going to slide W. And then guess what? We're going to leave the Jaina here. Your team's getting camps, and you're just going to keep double soaking. Yes, I missed two minions, but it's not the end of the world when we're distracting enemies and costing them a lot of time. So that's really what I wanted to share there. The next thing I wanted to share was just when you're moshing, you want to make sure that you're playing your moshes out correctly. A lot of times you're throwing moshes in without really like prepping the fights that well. So when you're sliding in, you want to just slide in and mosh. You don't want to give it a lot of time. And you want to try to see where the enemies are first, right? So you want to try to slide through. I saw you a lot of times where the fight was like this, and you would slide like past the first one, and you'd mosh like the back ones, and then this first one would distract your team as long as you were moshing, and it wasn't worth it. So what you want to do is you want to hold it until, and you want to just like smack them, or you can combo it a little bit, right? So this is where I think you could have turned that fight down at the camp a little bit, is if you would have comboed this. What I mean by a combo is you knock them closer to the rest of their team, and then you mosh, right? So you can knock their front line towards their back line, slide, stun their front line, their back line, and then mosh and lock down their entire team. Yes, it changes your combo, so you lose damage, but you CC their entire team. So when Varian walked out of the bush first, and then you had their Jaina walk out second, imagine this was the Varian, this is the Jaina. You just slide, and then you mosh their whole team, right? So that's the first thing that I wanted to show. The next thing I wanted to show, if I mosh here, you can Torbus into a wall, and you can continue moshing the same person for an extra 2 seconds. And so this allows Mosh Pit Torbus to be like one of the most powerful tools. Also, if you're at max range, you can also do it and still keep someone locked in. So it's really powerful. Like in that situation where you were against the Varian and the Arthas, you could have moshed both of them for a full 6 seconds, which would have allowed your team to win about 4 minutes earlier. So those are the few things that you could be doing differently on ETC. The combo things aside, the biggest major difference you can make is double soaking. You double soak on ATC, and you're going to find yourself winning significantly more games because your team's just going to be up on experience. So hopefully that helped you out. If you have any other questions, let me know. Thank you all for watching this video. Feel free to check out my other videos.